Good morning. This is Kenneth and Heather with the Advancing Equity Coalition, here to give you our quick recap on what went down last night during the February Minneapolis School Board meeting. How are you doing this morning, Heather?
I'm good. Last night was kind of a short meeting, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Do you want to give us the rundown?
Yeah. So, first of all, we heard a lot of public comments, both call in and in person last night. It was one of the more full rooms we've had in a while. And those comments were really around sort of two themes. One was asking for the board and the union and the superintendent to make an agreement to protect teachers of color from layoffs and excess. The other theme was one we've been hearing for a while, which is about there's a group of people who wants the superintendent to have a 1 year contract with lots of metrics and lots of conditions placed on it. So those were kind of the public comment themes. And then we met our two student reps. There will be two this year. One was on the board last night, and they'll be swapping places. I can't get the word. So that was fun to get to meet them. Um, we had a little conversation and then a subsequent passing of our strategic plan for the next 5 years. And then we had a conversation and a subsequent passing of our calendar for the next 3 years.
Yeah, very cool. So for my slide of the night, what I want to highlight is the commitment that the board is making to Minneapolis families, to the city around how they're going to prioritize resources and actions to significantly improve the experiences and outcomes of Black students, Indigenous students, and students of color and their families in Minneapolis public schools. Last night, the board, like Heather said, approved the strategic plan on a vote of 5-3. Director Pauly was not there to vote. And so, that's a big deal. The fact that the board and the district have a strategic plan, they haven't really been operating off of one for the last 5 years. And so now there's a strategic direction for the district. And also, they have made this public commitment. And so it's on us as a city, and it's on us as a community to ensure that like this commitment is actually being made to families, and we're holding the board and the district accountable to this. And so I want to make sure I highlight this as part of our slide of the night, because I think it's one of the most significant slides actually of the strategic plan. So with that, Heather, do you want to just go into your most valuable moment?
Yeah. So my most valuable moment was the fact that the new calendar that was proposed and then passed. I'm really excited about the additional 2 days of professional development or staff development that we gave to teachers mid-year. I think that that's a really key time to give teachers a refresher or new information right before students head into that January to like March sweet spot of like gelling and good quality learning. So I think that was a great investment for our district, and I really hope that we can see some improvement with that.
Very cool. Similarly, we intentionally split up this most valuable moment, but my most valuable moment is really focused on the calendar being adopted that recognizes some of the holiest holidays for our Muslim community and our Jewish community in Minneapolis. And so I think it's so significant that they adopted that students don't have to skip school in order to celebrate these holidays with our families. And it's not something that we have ever asked Christian families to do around Easter or Christmas. And so I think it's great that the Minneapolis School Board really reflected the calendar decision around seeing some of our other religious communities being disproportionately impacted when it came to days off around the holidays and things like that. So great moment for MPS last night in terms of the adoption of the calendars. So with that, do you want to go into your do better moment, Heather?
Yeah, so my do better moment, right, really has to do with public comment and accessibility. Um, we know that the board's been kind of switching back and forth with virtual and in-person comments, and right now you can leave a voicemail or you can come in person. I think that's great because I think more people that can use their voice, the better. But the in-person process is really still too complex. And what happened last night, we saw some parents that went to a great amount of effort to get to the meeting, to speak, thought they had the right tickets, didn't have the second ticket. You subsequently had to gave or chose to give up your public speaking, your comment place, because you wanted those families to be able to share, which was really generous. But I think we need to demystify that process a little bit more so that families can participate in that democratic process really quickly.
Yeah, in all the years that I've been watching the school board meetings, it feels like public comment has gotten even more and more restrictive, and you have to like
Mm-hmm.
really know the system in order to be able to leave public comment. Back in the day, I remember you could just go sign up and be like during the meeting you could sign up. I remember early on where there were 3 different opportunities to provide public comment before the meeting started, but during the meeting and after, at the end of the meeting, you could comment on what the discussion was, and that's not the case anymore. And now there's a limited number of people. Now you have to sign up virtually. You have to go through Eventbrite. Yeah, it's become a little bit more cumbersome than it I think should be. And I wonder if there's a way to simplify it and be more inviting for families who want to make sure their voices are heard by the people that serve them. So anyway, that's not my do better moment. My do better moment was really focused around one of the most important conversations that I think, again, this board can have, which is around the strategic plan. In my mind, some of the most important conversations that a board can have, and the most important parts of their role, are evaluating and hiring a superintendent, approving a budget, and approving a strategic plan. Last night, they did the work of approving a strategic plan. After several months of discussion. And there was, again, last night, a moment of, hey, do we need to take a moment to sit back? We sent a letter to the board, our coalition sent a letter to the board, sharing some of our concerns around major populations in Minneapolis not being heard and seen in the strategic plan. Specifically, our students receiving special education services, our English language learners, and our homeless and highly mobile students. And that question got brought up for the board to discuss, and saying like, hey, this is something that I'm concerned about. And it felt like that was dismissed pretty quickly. And so I thought that discussion could have been handled a lot better. We could have heard from the district around, in their plan, where do they see special education students? Where do they see our English language learners? Where do they see our homeless and highly mobile students?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't need to be a moment of defensiveness. It could have been a moment of like, how can we shed more light? Or like, maybe it is a moment of like, let's take a moment and like, let's actually see if we can identify this in the right way, and if we are targeting these populations in the ways that we need to. And so, it was a tense conversation. Directors Cerrillo and Director Elamine, have regularly provided pushback, and they did it again last night, and it felt like the rest of the board was just ready to move forward. They were ready to approve the plan. They thought everybody was on the same page. That wasn't the case, and then it just didn't get handled well. And then ultimately, by the end of the meeting, Director Caprini just abruptly ended the conversation. No other board members could really comment after that, and they voted to approve it 5-3. And so that was the discussion. I think it's the strategic plan is such an important thing for the district, and I thought that approval process, that discussion, that vote could have been handled a lot better. So that's my do better moment.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So with that is our recap. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful, and thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.